Boker tov lekulam. Hello, good morning. We're about to start another live session. I'm inviting now Dorit Bar, which is a great friend of mine and a teacher. And we can start.
And we share some knowledge and inspiration about healing, relationship, and being human. I'm a teacher of conscious sexuality and conscious intimacy. I share healing with individuals and couples, and I specialized in the healing trauma. And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, great. My name is Michal Horev, and I combine acupuncture with body-focused therapy to help people with all kind of emotional and physical manifestations in their body to learn how to connect better to ourselves and be in more harmony in this life. And today we chose a very interesting subject to talk about, and that is vulnerability. And I think maybe the first question I'd like to ask is, what is vulnerability?
Yeah, I love this subject and I love this question. And I love you. And I think something before answering the question, what is vulnerability, I would say, I feel one of the things that connects us, me and you, is we both explore the ability to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
and we love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of our connection. So what is vulnerability? For me, vulnerability is an ability to be connected to my truth, to what I really feel, to what I really want, even if it's uncertain feelings and emotions, and being open about it. In my understanding, vulnerability is first my ability to connect to myself, to be really exposed in front of myself.
Yeah.
To be really honest, sincere, authentic. And if I want to take it another step, and definitely it needs, I need to be courageous in order to do it. I will share it with a friend, with a partner, with someone in a relationship. So I want to emphasize that vulnerability is an ability we can develop.
Yeah.
It's not something we are born with, okay? It's not something we are born with, because when we are born, we are one with everything. We don't have yet the consciousness to relationship, to me and the other. This is something that develop only in our mature life. So I would love to hear, what do you think about the question, what is vulnerability? How do you understand it?
Yeah, I think that, just like you said, it starts with me and myself. So first of all, learning to see what I feel, and admitting to myself that maybe it's not a very comfortable feeling at the moment. This is what being vulnerable is, to admit that I'm not feeling comfortable. Maybe I'm sad, or maybe I'm angry, and being vulnerable is my ability to acknowledge it, to tell that's how I feel at this moment. And just like you said, the next level is being able to say it out in front of someone else, and this takes courage, but it also takes it asks you to admit that there is pain in life, pain that is caused by the fact that you're feeling sad at this moment, but also that you may cause pain to someone else by saying your own truth. And I think this is a very important point about vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to say something about what is happening to us when we don't develop that ability to be vulnerable, or when we choose consciously or unconsciously to live with this armor around our heart and being more disconnected from our feelings, being more mental, more intellectual. So I can say, my boyfriend can ask me, how was your day? And I can say, oh, it was just a bad day. Okay. And I'm honest. Okay. I'm honest. I'm not, but I am not touching my emotions.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if I choose to say, first answer, it was a bad day, but then maybe he asked, tell me more, what was bad? And then I share, I felt shame when my boss told me something that I didn't do correctly, etc., etc. I open my specific emotions, my specific sensations, and then it is really healing. When I'm opening my heart wide open, it heals me. So of course, if I will share my true feelings in a relationship, around the relationship, like maybe he hurt me, or I felt very angry about you from the morning until now, I'm still angry because there is a conflict, we didn't integrate, we didn't talk about it enough, and I would like for us to sit now and talk about it. And if we allow ourselves to really open all the layers of our thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensation, maybe at the beginning it will feel contracting, but then it will just open the heart. And this is what I do when I work with couples. They come, sometimes it feels like a fight, like they are very angry about one another or frustrated, and all they want is to be right. And in the space, in the safe space I create for them, I don't take sides, for sure, but also I teach them how to open all the layers.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, there is anger, okay, frustration, sadness, pain, and then when they come to that layer of the pain, something is happening in the room.
Yeah, and this is actually something I would like to ask you about. What is the healing of being vulnerable? What happens?
Why is it healing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why do you think it's healing? What do you feel
Wow.
that happens?
Can I just sit and smile so that you can see my vulnerability and just feel the healing? Because when I'm vulnerable, I'm really open. I want to say I'm really naked. This is my feeling. When I'm vulnerable in a relationship, I feel I'm not only taking my clothes off, I'm taking my skin, I'm taking my muscles. I stay free and pure spirit that feels human. Yeah. I'm sad, I'm in pain. I feel something. Yeah. It's the most naked state we can be. And I'm not the first therapist or teacher to say that the nakedness of our heart is much more challenging than the nakedness, being naked in our body and taking our clothes off. This is much more easy for most of the people.
Yeah. And can I add something? I think that in this moment when you're totally naked with your feelings, you surrender. You surrender to yourself being human, to yourself feeling pain, to yourself opening and like, okay, this is what I have. You trust whatever is, you call it God or universe or love, that this is what you are. And I think in this moment you admit that you are everything and nothing, and this is what I found healing about this moment.
Well, you are deep. I will take a moment to absorb the energy, yes, of being everything and being nothing. I feel in many approaches, whether it's spiritual approaches or therapeutic approaches, We learn techniques like imago, that comes from couple counseling, or nonviolence communication of Marshall Rosenberg. These two techniques came to my mind this morning, very good ones. Definitely, I recommend to get to know them. But what I want to say is that there are many techniques, and this is, of course, not the only ones, that teach us techniques how to open our heart.
Yeah.
I share my emotion, I share my need, I share my request, and then this is vulnerability.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and maybe all the times, techniques are limited. Techniques are limited to the level of real openness that I allow myself. And the openness that I allow myself is how much do I allow myself to feel pain? Because like you said, if I'm sad or angry or frustrated, or I don't have sexual desire, or I think about separating from you as my partner, or whatever I'm dealing with, it is painful. And the more I will talk about it, the pain will grow. But the pain will grow to the degree of healing, meaning first it will rise up, more pain, more pain, more pain, but then it will come to a peak. This is all the pain. And then it will start decreasing, and then I will feel harmony and peace, and I will feel like relief of the pain.
Yeah.
So I want to say, I recommend to all of us to learn techniques of positive communication and intimate communication, but also remember that vulnerability, it's not a technique. Vulnerability is a choice of the heart to learn moment to moment. How can I be more open? How can I be more honest? How can I be more naked right now? And to choose to do this leap of faith, because this is who I am. This is being human, like you said. And yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
The heart, such a beautiful thing. Yeah, I want to say it is painful. You know, it is painful to be vulnerable. Whenever I do it, I feel it like my heart is pounding. Yeah, please say something about it.
I think the fact that it's painful is the reason why it is so hard to be vulnerable. And let's take a second to also admit that it's not like, okay, I'm just gonna learn some techniques and start sharing with my partner or friend or family member. It is hard because it's painful and because we are not used to feel pain. We're not, we grow up in a culture where, like you say, our culture pushes us through pleasure to happiness, and you know, life should be always great. And actually, exciting. Life is a great mix of everything.
Exactly.
And until we acknowledge that, we will always have hard time being vulnerable, because being vulnerable is painful, just like we just said.
But why is it important? I would like to listen together to the question, why is it important to be vulnerable? Why isn't it enough to be sincere, like to say to my boyfriend, yeah, I had a bad day, please don't ask me more? Well, because when you ask me, I feel more of the pain. So please make dinner and let's have sex or something. Let's watch a movie. Why is it important to be vulnerable? Is it important to be vulnerable?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. I think
it's a great topic.
Well,
I can try to answer if you want.
I can start.
Okay, please.
Being vulnerable when we're not sharing fully how we feel about something, just like in the example you mentioned, we are, first of all, I feel that we disconnect from ourselves. So within ourselves, we're not giving full space to whatever we feel. We are starting to push things aside. And this is something, of course, for ourselves to learn within ourselves. But in a relationship, for me, this is what causes us feeling lonely. When I don't share my whole human complex, I'm lonely. I'm lonely in a relationship. And for me, then I ask the question, why am I in a relationship when I cannot fully share?
Wow.
So this is the first thing that comes into my mind. Do you want to add something about that?
Sure. First, thank you for that clarity. I feel as a therapist in the field of relationship, I want to say most of the people feel lonely in life, whether they are in a relationship or not in a relationship. Loneliness is let's say, the disease that the Western culture is suffering most of all. It's the base and the source of a high level of depression, anxiety, challenges around sexuality and even sexual functioning. I feel that it is important to be vulnerable, first because it's the next level of the human evolution. Let's say until now, the evolution of humanity was we want to survive, and then we want to survive in modern societies that can give food, at least for most of us, but this is another topic. Give food, give water, have jobs, have children, blah, 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 blah. And we want to be smart, like to develop new technologies, etc. So we learned how to survive, which is beautiful, and medicine and all of that. And we learned how to develop intellectually, which is also really, really beautiful. But we didn't learn how to develop emotionally, spiritually, and I would like to add sexually, because in my understanding, sexuality is reflecting the level of my connection to my physical body, my emotional body, and my spiritual body. So the sexual levels that most of the people know and manifest is wild sexuality or even mental sexuality, porn sexuality.
Yeah.
They focus on getting an orgasm, being stimulated, feeling excitement, and this is good sexuality. But there is a problem with this level of sexuality. In a long-term relationship, it gets, after short time, it gets boring because it's the same touch and the same orgasm. So it is important to learn about vulnerability and to develop this ability, because then we can always be new in the moment. My emotions every day are different.
Yeah.
My stories are different. Every day I feel a different complex, like a cocktail of emotions and feelings that came from this day.
Yeah.
And then when I'm meeting my partner and I'm really intimate with myself, really close and open with him or with her, then our physical connection also will be different. So I feel we have to go.
It will never be boring.
It will never be boring. There will always be passion. And we have to go to this direction of opening our heart, because this is really the next level. We are going into that direction. And definitely we are talking about it now because it is already in the field of the evolution of human consciousness.
Yes, and from my point of view as a professional, I work less with sexuality, but a lot with the physical body. And when we avoid feeling and acknowledging our feelings, they get stuck in the body. And then we start having all kind of physical symptoms. It can be pain somewhere, it can be tension, but it can also develop into a much more complicated diseases. And some people slowly learn to see this connection of emotion and physical manifestation, but it is still like a surprise for some people. I tell them, yeah, well, every time you are stressed, you get headache, and they are like, I never thought about it. So
yeah,
it is something that's
new, yeah, it's still a new information for some people, definitely.
Yeah, and this is also, like you said, a step in the human evolution to learn this. It's almost funny for me to call it a connection, you know, between emotion and body, because it's not even a connection. It's one thing. So how can you connect it if it's one? It's one thing.
And, just being conscious of the connection. I think this is what we do.
Again, sorry?
We learn how to be conscious of the connection that is already there.
Yeah.
We are not conscious of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is also something that is, for me, a very, very important reason why vulnerability is important. Yeah.
Definitely.
To enable feeling will release so much from our great body that is doing so much to support us every day, every hour. And
yeah. So what, if I will just like emphasize what you said, emotions and feelings are part of us. It's a natural part of us. It's we are born with feelings and emotions, and they need to be always in flow in our body, just like our water, our blood, our oxygen, and our muscles. They need movement in order to be healthy. And vulnerability is, if we don't choose to develop this ability, then our emotions get stuck in the body and create different kind of illness or migraines or headaches or aches of different kinds. And from my field, I would say, when we choose not to be vulnerable in a relationship, consciously or unconsciously, for sure we will deal with decline of the passion in the relationship. We will feel we are getting distant, that we are not really together, even though we live in the same house and we do a lot of things together. But our heart has like a kind of a barrier, because I am not feeling safe enough, maybe, to bring my emotions and my sensations. Maybe our next talk can be about safety.
Yeah.
What is safety, and how can we create it for one another, but also how can we create it for ourselves? Because, you know, sometimes I can choose to be vulnerable in a relationship about my emotions in the relationship, not about what happened in my work.
Yeah.
And maybe the other side will be vulnerable as me, and it will be a delight. But maybe it's difficult for him, and maybe I will bring my exposed heart, and she or he, they bring a closed heart, and this can be painful.
Yeah.
So, like we said, being vulnerable is painful.
Yeah, it's not an easy job.
We tell you only the truth. No magic here.
The painful truth.
The painful truth of our emotions.
Of
yes,
being human. Being human.
Yeah, but we are talking a lot about pain. But just, I will say that, and maybe it will be like our last sentences, that when I allow myself to feel the pain, I am opening myself to pleasure, because it's always a relief. Yeah. It's a leap of faith, a relief, and then something positive comes. and then I feel more close to my partner, and then I feel more close to whoever to myself, definitely, and to whoever I talk with.
Yeah.
Let's be vulnerable.
Yeah, let's do
Amen.
that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for inviting me to this talk. So I will say we are doing that every month. You are welcome to follow my account or Michal account. We would love to get to know you more. We share knowledge about healing and relationship, and please ask us questions, comment on that live, share it with your friends, and be vulnerable. This is our true victory, and this is definitely the next level of human evolution.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be with you.
You too.
Ciao, Michal.
Bye.